Hello? Is it fashionably late? Can we start now? Are we good? Thumbs up? All right. Good. Hello, everybody. I am John Van Brunt, Associate Director of Undergraduate Admissions in the Transfer Office.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Candido, and I am a Transfer Evaluation Specialist in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions.
So we decided to put together this presentation and present it here for professional development because we see some trends, we see things that pop up with the transfer student population that we want to just kind of bring out and address with some advisors, some of the academic departments, so they can see some of these things that we run into. But more than anything, it's going to, I want to focus everything that we do today on the items on the board there, the title of the presentation. We want to maximize our enrollment, we want to bring the students back and retain them, and we want to make sure that we're doing it efficiently. So if we put those three things together, my goal today is everything we say is going to gear around those three items. Okay, so let's dive right into it. So what we're going to do today, we want to talk about the trends in the transfer population. The trends. Where is transfer population going right now? All right, transfer student needs. What do they need to get enrolled? What do they need to come here, enroll, retain, and graduate? And then utilizing technology. What are we doing to help us be more efficient using the technology? And understanding the evaluation process, all of our processes that we use, and what the state laws apply. All right. That's not my next slide. Any advice? Oh, here we go. There we go. So here's the trends. So trends in transfer enrollment. So New Jersey, we are losing the high school population. High school population is shrinking. So year over year, we were increasing in high school graduates, and now it's going the other way. We hit our peak. All right, so that's shrinking. Also, New Jersey has the highest rate of losing people altogether. People are moving out of New Jersey at a higher rate than any other state in the union. We export students at a higher rate than any other state. So when students graduate high school, they are leaving New Jersey more than any other state in the union also. So what does that mean? That means that our population is shrinking to attract freshman candidates from within the state. Also, free community colleges popping up, so a lot of those high school graduates that are staying end up going to community college. All right, so that means that we have to fight and compete with all the other four-year schools for this smaller piece of the pie, if that makes any sense. Now, when we compete, we're competing with the other schools, but also I just got finished with the Phi Theta Kappa honor roll application. We do that every year. Every year, we've gotten it 3 years in a row, 16, 17, 18. I'm sorry, 15, 16, 17. I just did the 2018 application. Every previous year, we had to apply and tell Phi Theta Kappa why we were great, which was pretty easy to do. I told them all the great things we have going on here. This year, I had to input just numbers, hard data, and they tell us if we're great, okay? I couldn't fluff that as much, all right? So the competition and all these things combined, we really have to stand out in the crowd somehow. And what are we gonna do to pull these transfer students in? All right, so transfer-friendly institution is how we're gonna bring these students in. When I say transfer-friendly institution, I know we have a very spread out crowd, and I wanna point at my transfer team over here, but I'll give you guys a pass for now. When you hear transfer-friendly institution, what do you think of? If you want to shout it out, you can. What's transfer-friendly? What makes you think of that? Take their credits. Excellent. Good. What else? Perfect. So taking the credits is one of the primary things that we bring in, but my first bullet note kind of encompasses all of that. Taking credits, it's a smooth transition. They finish their associate's degree, they get their credits, and how do they smoothly transfer into Kane University? How do we make that slide right in, and they go from Union or whatever community college they're at, and they easily come over here. That's how those credits come in. It's the process of enrolling. It's the process of not missing a beat. It feels like nothing changes for them. All right. Also, we want to reduce barriers. And a lot of different barriers pop up. So the advisement process can be a barrier because our population is a very last-minute population. When I was working with Just Online, one of our biggest issues was online students register, like 40 to 50% of online students register within the week and a half of the start date. All right, that's a transfer population thing that they wait to the last minute. As you know, my transfer team will say, and Emily will tell you, right now, there's students that are emailing us and calling us nonstop because they want to register for classes on Tuesday. So it's a very last-minute population that waits to the very last minute to get registered. So we have to keep an eye on that. Also, curriculum changes. Curriculum changes can be a stumbling block. And not just because of, program changes, whatever, but we're getting down to 120 credits. They don't know how to self-advise. Things like that can get in their way. And also confusion. Students get confused very easily because they get used to something for 2 years at Union County College, and they transfer to Kane, and they have to get used to our system. So those things can change a little bit, right? Did I miss anything?
No, you pretty much covered it. And, we do ask for your continued support with advisement because, you are the experts in the field and you do know when certain courses are offered, each semester. And just speaking to you as the advisor, they feel more comfortable, transferring in because they want to know, what do they have to complete? What is left to complete? So, again, we thank you for your support in this, and we'll go a little bit further into detail on what, would help in your advisement sessions, certain questions that we ask and we suggest that you ask our transfer population when meeting with them, just to make it a smooth transition for them. Okay, but we'll talk about that afterwards. Here you go, John.
Good. So the biggest thing that can cut down on confusion, cut down on that last-minute population, cut down on those barriers that we run into is understanding our process. And there's two processes. There's the evaluation process, or I should say the admission process, and then there's the enrollment process. So the transfer admission process is very simple. They apply, they get us all the documents that they need, if it's a portfolio for an art program, audition, all their transcripts, everything they need, and we would admit them. Once they're admitted, it gets sent to our processing department. All right, our processing department scans in the transcripts, they enter everything into our system, and they enter the credits into XETS. Do you see XETS up there? How many times have you heard us say XETS and had no idea what that was? Oh, yeah. So XCTS is basically when processing enters each course into Colleague, and once that's entered in there, our evaluation team is able to enter those credits as equivalencies. So it's the data processing goes in, and then we call them equivalencies and add them to the degree audit. So processing has to scan an XCTS, and then the evaluation team does the evaluation. When the evaluation team is done completing that evaluation, here's all the course equivalencies. They click that it's done, and it sends an email to the students letting them know that their evaluation's done. It gives them 2 paragraphs in that email, but as we know, a lot of students don't always read. All right, so the first paragraph tells them, here's how you can look at your evaluation, here's what you have to do, here's your login information, here's everything you need to know about your evaluation. The second paragraph is what their next steps are. It takes them to the accepted students page, kane.edu/accepted. Takes them to that page to know exactly what to do next and how to enroll, which goes here. In addition to that email, in addition to every time we talk to them on the phone, in addition to every time we correspond with them via email, we send them the 5 steps to enrollment page. All right, we tell them, go to this website, it's going to tell you exactly what to do. We send them this this comes in their acceptance packet, this paper here. We hand it to them at Instant Decisions. We do all of that information to make sure that they understand what to do next. All right? You know what? Let me go back. Sorry. One thing I want to point out, the steps are very simple. There's 2 holds on everyone's account. It's 1, they can't register unless they pay their tuition deposit, and 2, once they meet their advisor, we lift the advising hold. All right? Sometimes a transfer student needs to take the placement test, but it's very rare because most of them are coming in with a college level English and a college level math. All right? Good. So,
And I just want to add, going back to that with the placement examination, students will know they will need to complete this exam because the evaluators will connect with the placement department and let them know what exam they must complete. So if they need to complete English, they'll need to take the English. If they need to complete math, or sometimes they need to take both. So our placement center will reach out to the student and will let them know that they must complete the test and what dates are available to come on campus to take the test, okay? So I just wanted to inform you all on that.
So one of the things that's great is, so we told you we will walk them through the application and acceptance process. We'll walk them through the 5 steps process. We're constantly just hammering them over the head. Here's what you have to do. Here's what you have to do next. Here's what you have to do next. But what are we running into for the last 3 weeks or so? Students not knowing what to do next. And we keep going, well, I emailed this person 3 times. I told them on the phone 12 times. I told them 100 times now, here's what you have to do next. Why isn't it working? We want to make sure that we're communicating to the best of our ability. So this is one of my favorite quotes. It shows up in a lot of my presentations that I do. But it's the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. All right? We think, oh, well, I sent this person an email. They should know. They should figure that out. But are we actually communicating with them? Are we actually connecting with that other person to make sure that they know what to do next? All right? Doesn't matter how many times we send it. If they don't understand that this is exactly what to do next, we didn't actually communicate. So texting, email, phone calls, things like that, everything we can do just to full circle make sure they know what to do. All right, so that's one of the biggest keys to advising transfer students, making sure they actually understand what's next. Second key is having a graduation plan, and I'm glad Pat Moriali is still here. She was the one I used as an example. When she meets with a student, she gives them the sequence of courses of what's next. How does this person have a pathway to graduation? What do they have to do to graduate? So many students will come to me and say, well, I know what class I'm going to register for next semester, but then they're done. They have no idea what to do next, and that's why we might have a retention problem. All right, so doing that little bit more work on the front end of that, giving them a pathway to graduation, knowing what they have to do in the beginning, keeps them more engaged in Kane University and more likely to stay here at Kane. All right, now, good news is I'm told that student planners should be rolling out soon, and that can do that for us or a version of it for us so they actually know what the sequence is and what's next. But until then, giving students not just the immediate semester, but the next following ones as well. Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm going to swing it over to Emily. She's been doing this for years.
So as we mentioned earlier, our goal is really to support our transfer population and to make it as smooth and as possible as it can be for them. It's a bit overwhelming for them, right? It's a new school, new staff, new faculty, new everything. It's a new environment. So, this population, they require a lot of hand-holding for their first semester, I would say. They just need a little bit more of your time, just maybe an extra 5 minutes or so, just to get them settled in and acclimated into the university. And I just wanted to, again, thank you all because you guys have been doing such a great, outstanding, tremendous work on advising the students, but there are a lot of times where students come in and, and we'll discuss the questions that I have afterwards, but a lot of the transfer students, they tend to apply prior to completing their associate's degree if they're at a New Jersey community college. They're in their last semester, right, at whatever institution. It could be a 4-year, it could be a 2-year, an outside New Jersey school. So when you're meeting with them, there are a couple of questions that we ask and we suggest that you ask them prior to recommending courses, because the last thing we want to do is tell them to take a class that will eventually transfer over. And they tend to send their final transcripts months later, or even sometimes a semester or 2 later. So the first important question I would say is, ask our transfer student, if you know they're a transfer student, did you earn an AA or an AS from a New Jersey community college? Will you be obtaining an associate's degree in AA or an AS New Jersey Community College? And did you submit your final transcript to Kane University? And again, this is important because a lot of our transfer students, they think that these transcripts just get sent automatically. They do, and that's not the case. They have to request it on their own. And sometimes they forget when they really applied and they had that last semester or 2 in progress, okay? So by doing this, it would, I think, help when you're advising these students, because like I said, the last thing we want to do is have them register for something that they don't need to take. I do want to go into our Lampet Law and our different associate's degrees. And with being that said, in 2008, the state of New Jersey, they signed into a law, a comprehensive state wide transfer agreement. And this agreement is also known as the Lambent Law. And this was designed to facilitate and smooth a smooth transfer from a New Jersey community college to a 4-year New Jersey public college or university. This agreement provides full transferability when a student transfers from a Associate's in Arts to a Bachelor's of Arts, or an Associate's of Science degree into a Bachelor's of Science program. Such students should have all of their lower division general education requirements satisfied upon transferring into Kane University, but there are some exceptions. And that is if a student did not, let's say, complete a prerequisite for their major, or they did not complete a course that is required for certification, we cannot substitute those classes, okay? So I also wanted to just remind that this law only applies to New Jersey community colleges. I have sometimes students and departments contact me saying, hey, Emily, this student says they got an associate's degree, and they didn't graduate from a New Jersey community college. This does not apply to New York schools. This does not apply to schools in Florida. It's strictly New Jersey, okay? So please just keep that in mind. And it only applies to certain associate's degrees. So it covers and is protected by, for those that have graduated with an Associate's of Arts or an Associate's of Science, not the AAS, which is Associate's in Applied Science, or Associate's of Fine Arts, an AFA, okay? So I just wanted to, if you want to just click, review and just give you an example, just so you can have a visual of how we can apply this agreement to our this example is psychology, our psychology program here at Kane. Now, remember, our programs are going down to 120, so this is not the final guide sheet, but we're going to use this as the example. So if you look up on the screen, you'll see that all the GEs, excluding the GE 1000, okay, or GE 3000, which is a graduation requirement at Kane, will be satisfied with the AA or AS degree from the New Jersey Community College. So as long as it's not a prerequisite for their major, so for example, in this major, can anyone tell me what is the prerequisite for psychology? What do they need to complete on the left side, the general ed side? Thank you. Yes, general psych. So if they got the Associates of Arts from, let's say, Union County College, but did not complete general psychology at Union County College, we cannot substitute that course. They must complete that course at Kane, okay? So that is the only prerequisite in psychology. They must complete, again, Psychology 1000. And then if they took, let's say, additional psychology courses at the community college, we can also transfer those into the academic major, and anything we have left over, let's say there's business classes or science classes, we would then transfer it into the free elective side, and I highlighted that as well, okay? So we are able really to satisfy all of their, maximize their credits when going into a liberal arts type major, like psychology. You will see their credits, typically all their 60 credits transferred over. Now I want to give you an example of an education track, okay? So if you can just, thank you, John. If you're looking at the screen, you will see that I have the BA Elementary Education K6 TSD Special Ed Endorsement guide sheet up. And I again highlighted the general eds. Again, we can satisfy all of the general eds, excluding the GE 1000, GE 3000 course. Again, it's a graduation requirement. Again, if it's a prerequisite for their concentration, because we all know that elementary ed students must select a concentration. So let's just use psychology as the example again. If they did not complete Psychology 1000, guess what? they need to complete it at Kane. We cannot substitute that course, okay? So if you look at it again, you will see the GEs highlighted that we can satisfy. If they took anything in the major, we would transfer those in. If, let's say, sometimes they do, they take like a pre-professional course, their sophomore field at the community college, we can transfer that in. Or the Education 3000, those are really the only two courses from the professional education side that typically students tend to take if they are following their education program at the community college. And then that's it. There's no free electives in this major. So sometimes the departments will call me and say, Emily, the student got the associate's degree. We have their final document. And why are there only 40-something credits transferred? And can anyone answer that question for me? They don't match up with the guide sheet, and there's no free electives. That's the difference between psychology and an education track. There are no free electives. So if they have extra classes, we can't put them anywhere into this guide sheet, right? So that is why we really can't maximize those credits, right? Those transfer credits, because there's no room to put them in. So unless they were working with a transfer advisor at the community college or someone here at the university, either in the department or with an admissions representative, how would they know? They can use NG Transfer, right? Because at the community college, they do use NG Transfer, the RTPs, which show them, hey, if Kane is the school they want to go to, follow this program, everything should transfer in smoothly. But a lot of our students, they don't know, or they're unaware, and they just take classes because they were told to take classes at the community college, and they heard they were going to get an associate's degree, and they really, don't know the requirements at Kane. So they do tend to lose some of their credits, like I said, if they are not following our program, okay? So I just kind of wanted to show you the difference between the two, because a lot of the departments have been reaching out, and a lot of students question, well, why are not all my 60 credits transferring over? That is the reason why, because if they did not complete the courses required at Kane, all right, all we can do is just satisfy their general eds, and then they have to fulfill the rest at Kane. Does that make sense? Okay.
Just to build on that, I went back to the psychology map here. If you're advising a student and they say, yes, I have an associate's degree, but there's a gap in humanities. It says that their evaluation or their degree audit says that they need to take a class in humanities. That should be a trigger in your mind saying, uh-oh, something's wrong here, because that should be satisfied if they have an associate's degree. Does that make sense? So if I come in as a psychology major and I take, I tell you I have my associate's degree, but it says that world literature hasn't been satisfied yet, but I'm telling you I have an associate's, that should be satisfied. All right, so just keep that in mind if you see any gaps.
Right.
Alternatively, the example that Emily used with if you're a psychology major and there's a gap in psychology, that shouldn't be a red flag. So we just got to keep an eye on that, make sure that the student's able to access their degree audit, and then you can take a look at it as well with them, just to kind of coach them and move them in the right direction. All right? All right. So TES, so this is the technology I was talking about before. This is how we're going to kind of bring this all together and make this more efficient for us. So TES, what it is right now, Emily, actually, can you tell us how we've been using it in the past?
So a lot of you will receive an email from the transfer staff, and what we do is if there's a course from a four-year institution that we are unsure of, or we may have an idea of, but we want you to confirm it since you guys are the experts in that particular area, to just confirm via email. So we'll send you a course substitution form, and then we'll send you a description, and we pull up that description from this wonderful site here, TES, okay?
So yeah, TES has course catalogs from almost every college in the U.S. It's got 2-year schools, 4-year schools, it's got everything. And it's got course catalogs from every year that they can go back, as far as they can go back, and it's all housed in there. And right now, we're basically copying and pasting and emailing the department saying, hey, is this an equivalency? moving forward, we're going to change things because this tool is more than just course descriptions. It's more than just what we're using it for right now. So what we want to use it for is, it's got email capabilities. We can send the course directly from TES to you for your approval. All right? It can store equivalencies permanently, and we're going to tell you why that's important in just a minute also. It's that the course catalogs all are in there, comparison tools. So if we're trying to map out how many courses are similar with Montclair State or William Patterson, and we want to say, okay, we get a lot of students from those two schools transferring to Kane, how do we make sure that we have our the matching equivalencies? How do we manage that? It has the comparison tool. And if we build this database and make the course equivalencies accurate, we can have students be able to self-advise by putting this on our website. And on that website, on the Kane.edu website, they'll be able to self-evaluate how their credits will transfer into Kane University. It's going to be a very strong tool once we get there, but we have to start building it. We've been paying for this system for years, but only using the tip of the iceberg. We want to utilize the entire tool so we can really move forward and do some of the things that we want to do with technology. So I mentioned email capabilities and storing equivalencies permanently. This is important. Now I'll show you this first. So email capabilities. Let me touch on that first. So I'm the evaluator. Emily's the professor. We just did a test run on this, and I said, all right, we want to know if Psych 101 Intro to Psych at Montclair State is an equivalency to our Psych 1000 here at Kane. So I pull it up. And as you can see, there's the course description, tells you how many credits they are, all the information's there. Actually, in the very top right-hand corner there, those little icons, one of them's the syllabus, one of them's the course history. So what was this course called last catalog? What was the course called the year before, and it tells you how the course can evolve also. So that can really help out. But that email icon, I click on that, and it pops this up, and I can write Emily an email. I put Emily's email in there, and I say, hi, Emily, please let me know, is this equivalent to anything? All right? Emily checks her email, and it looks like this. Right? It comes in, there's the course description right there for her to check, and my note is up top there. All right? She can say, yes, it is, or if she needs more information, she can log into TES. All right? Everyone here can have access to TES. All you need to do is email me, and I will get you access to TES, so you know, so you can go in and access those the syllabi, course descriptions, and the history. All right. So you can see at the bottom here, Emily replied and said, "Hello, John. Psych 101 is equivalent to Psych 1000 Intro to Psychology at Kane." All right. She sends that. I get the email, and I make it an equivalency. It is now in TES permanently until I change it. All right. So what does this mean for you as the advisors? What does this mean for you as the academic departments? Nothing. Change nothing. We were emailing you. We were copying and pasting and emailing you. Now we're just emailing you. All right? Still reply to the email. Let us know if that's an equivalency, and we take care of it on the back end. All right? Now, if you've seen a professional development with me before, I use this next picture a lot. So why are we doing this? All right? What's the point? Why do we go through this whole thing? Because in the end, if Emily decides to take a month sabbatical and all of the equivalencies are just in her email, not in TES, I now have to email you again. So that's now 2 emails you're going to get on one course. All right? If James over here hits the lottery and he's no longer evaluating courses for us and doing transfer credit evaluations, and he leaves, we have to start back at 0 again and start emailing the College of Business Public Management and all these other departments to find out, is this an equivalency, yes or no? You tell us once, it's now in here, you don't have to be bothered by us again. And I think that is the most important part of TES, all right? Oh, there you go. So this leads us into the technology part of the evaluation system. So our plan is to utilize TES, which can communicate with Colleague, which is where we do the evaluations. I'm working with OCIS on how to make evaluations, coursework taken at another institution, and credit by exam automated. So once the data processing is done, ideally those credits will transfer in. Ideally everything can be done automatically. We just have to kind of move things around. All right? I kind of was laughing with Dr. Goubeau that we're trying to make this automated, but at the same time, we have to have that little nuance of move a credit here, move a credit there. It's easier to move around 5 or 6 courses than to enter each one individually as an equivalency. So that's what we're aiming at, is to automate everything, and it starts with TES and my work with OCIS to make sure that we are being as efficient as possible. All right? So again, it brings me back to what our topic of the day was, is how do we enroll students, how do we keep them here, and how are we doing this efficiently? A lot of it is the conversations we're having in our first meeting. A lot of it is giving them a pathway to graduation and being as efficient as possible with it. And the efficiency really comes into play with the technology that we're going to introduce, okay? All right. Well, this is our contact information. This is important. Email us. I can get you access to TES. Emily's been here a little while also as far as an evaluator, so a lot of you have probably interacted with her. My team is down here, stand to be recognized. There they are. Hey, all right. So, oh yes, I should introduce them.
Right.
James is standing. I went on the right first. James stood up first. James, and then Jasenia, and Kayla, and Anissa. So James, Kayla, and Jasenia have been here for how many months now? 4 months. But they hit the ground running. They have experience, and I feel like we really haven't missed a beat. Actually, you helped us because we were short a few people when they finally started, so that's great. But yeah, moving forward, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, please reach out to us. How are we on time right now? Oh, we got plenty of time. That was a quick presentation. Are there any questions from the audience that we can answer in relation to what we've presented? Yes.
Okay. So the AAS, that is not protected by the Lampet law. So it would mean that if a student comes in with an AAS from a New Jersey community college, we would transfer them course by course, which means if they completed the course, let's say Psych 101, it would transfer in as Psych 1000 at Kane. We would not be able to substitute that course anywhere in the general ed side because that, that specific degree is not protected by the Lampet law. So it's really course by course. We transfer it directly how it was, whatever it was at their prior institution and how it would be transferred into the university at Kane. Does that make sense? For the AAS? Yes. Yes. They would lose that credit. If there's a free elective area in their program, then it would just fall under that category. So if, let's say, I don't know, a firefighter class, let's just use that. If that's not required, right? And it's not really needed, but they did take it at the community college, we would just transfer it in as a general free elective so that they wouldn't lose the credit.
And similarly, I thought this was strange when I first started doing some of
Yeah.
these, and I actually, the articulation agreement we have with Union County College, I thought it was weird that CJ 207 was actually transferring. They were taking CJ 207, a criminal justice class, at the community college that was transferring in as one of our humanities courses. And I said, wait, that doesn't make sense. Those aren't equivalencies. They're only equivalencies if they have the AS. Right. So they were getting the associate's degree and then transferring to Kane. We have to satisfy those general eds. So CJ 207 had to find a home, and that home was satisfying one of the general eds. That's the confusing part of it, is that that general ed had to be taken care of somehow, and the only leftover credit was a criminal justice class. I said, all right, sure. They threw it in there. And that's mainly what, I'll even go back to that slide for you too. Mainly why we wanted to point out that the general eds need to be satisfied through the Lampet law when they have that associates, but the AAS, we don't have to satisfy anything. Right. We just do credit by or course by course, right. exact course for course evaluation. Does that make sense?
No, it isn't.
No. Yeah, so the AAS is designed for people that want to go into the workforce immediately. So they go, they get their AAS 2 years, and they go. It's not designed to transfer. The AS and the AA are designed to transfer into a 4-year school. But some people change their mind halfway through, and they say, you know what, I'm getting this AAS, but I want to transfer anyway. And they understand when they sign up for it, they know I'm getting a professional degree, not the AA or AS. Yep. Yes.
I'm Jacqueline Stockford, I'm the history department, and I hear that you're very concerned in your advisement, and I too in my advisement, to be sensitive to the students, not to take classes that won't help them graduate. But I advise my students in the second grade, it's actually the opposite. I tell them that any class they took is not wasted, and that these guide sheets should be thought of in a different way. These guide sheets, as we make them as faculty and our curriculum development, are not the maximum number of courses to be taken. They're the minimum number of courses to be taken for any student. These guide sheets are the bare minimum. So to be making the bare minimum as the assumed complete is undercutting the possibilities that education can do for us. So I want to suggest that we need a sensitivity there, that these guide sheets are just the minimum, not to be teaching the children to think that anything they do outside the guide sheets is a waste of time or a waste of money. They
Yeah.
don't think of the resources, but they've already taken those classes. They have to identify with that education in order to value it, or else it undercuts them as not just paying clients, but also growing intellectuals.
Yeah, it's a really great way to look at it too. It's a very optimistic outlook on it, which is great. And you mentioned the word value, and I think that's important. What are the students valuing? A lot of times when they say, "Hey, I want the least time to my degree," they are valuing nothing but that piece of paper they get at the end. All right, those are the people that maybe is what we're talking about. We don't want to waste their time. But the people that took a couple extra classes that might be on the fence, they're a little frustrated. Having them see it through that scope, I think, is amazing, and it's a really good way of presenting it.
I'm suggesting that through your office, that you support that intellectual ideal, faculty support, that these guide sheets are just the minimum, not the maximum.
Absolutely.
From you, if they hear that from us, then they're more likely to identify as intellectuals.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yes.
When a student transfers and you're using the term, they lose those credits, do all the credits get evaluated and put down in other, when it comes out on the evaluation form, so that if they decide to change degree,
No.
and you know they do, as soon as they get here, they all start shuffling around, are those already evaluated in their evaluation plan, or do they need to go back to you guys and say, there's more courses on my transcript, I need to get to those?
Two answers to that. One, no, not right now, but they will be all added soon. So the transfer credit policy we're moving towards is transferring all the credits in, and that's why we're trying to build up the TES system and create this automated system so everything can transfer in as the equivalency. So when they do switch majors, they can kind of fall right in place, and then the evaluation specialist can move things around. So that is where we're moving to very soon. As of right now, they're not. We're only transferring what would come in towards the degree, and then we will, when they change majors, it comes back to the transfer evaluation specialists to then reevaluate the student. Yes?
I know in the past, there's been a time limit on how long your office deals with transfer students, and then when it becomes a registrar. What is that time limit?
The line is now when they apply for graduation, they are with the registrar's office. Prior to applying for graduation, they're with us. What else? No other questions? We're very thorough. All right. Well, thank you very much. And again, please approach us if you have anything. We have a little bit of time left. And if you need anything, just reach out to us. Thank you.